Discuss reliance of the mentee on the mentor. So discuss the reliance of the mentee on the mentor. And I'm just going to unfold a little bit. Then I'm going to ask Doug to chirp in about anything that he might want to say. And then I'm going to share with you 3 ways that you can really take a look at this this situation if you find yourself in it as a mentor. The idea here is to get across the sense, okay, that what's taking place is that there's this mentoring relationship, okay? And with the mentoring relationship, the mentee is entering into it with the mentor. Now, we always say the mentor sort of leads the arrangement, the mentee leads the relationship. And we say that because the mentee is needing to develop the relationship in such a way as to benefit in the way that feels comfortable for them, and the mentor will create the arrangement for that to happen. But what will sometimes take place is that the mentee will come to that, developing a relationship that may have this sense of dependence or codependence, or I'm going to lean into my mentor a little bit more. And if the mentor is not aware of this, then things will start to go a little bit sideways, because the mentee might say, can you help me with this decision? I'm not really sure if I know what's going on, or I'm sort of feeling a little lost in what's going on. I could really use a little bit, a deeper connection here to find out what's taking place. And when you start to hear that phrasing, it can start to slide towards the concept of counseling. All right. So if the person's looking for some reassurance, okay, granted, we're all looking for, hey, did you do a good job? But if it constantly keeps happening, then, pay attention to that. What's going on? And if the person sort of is being a little bit of negative talk, challenging their own self-concept, their own self-awareness, and you start to hear that in the conversation, then let that come to the surface and find out what's going on. But if the person starts to move into a place where their boundaries are starting to open up and be, well, I'm talking about this or I'm talking about that, and maybe all of a sudden the conversation goes into something that's so personal, you're going, as a mentor, this doesn't fit to where it is that we're going. If we keep going this way, I don't know if it's going to be helpful, so I'm going to just raise up and go, hang on a minute, what's going on, and pay attention to it. It's not that you're throwing the person away and say, well, I won't talk about anything that's personal. But your spidey senses will sort of go, oh, hang on a minute, this is starting to get to a place where I'm not sure that that's part of our arrangement. Even though you may want it from a relationship point of view, I may have to put something in place to deal with that. All right. That's sort of the nuance, because the reliance part is what the mentor is there for, is so that you can rely on tapping into the lived experience. That's part of what the mentoring is, strategic alliance or collaborative alliance. That's what it's about. Okay, that's naturally what a mentor can do, right, to make it work. So with that, I know that you've got lots of stories and situations where you've come across this, Doug. Do you want to add a little bit to that? And then what I'd like to do is just return to what's some ways in which the mentor can avoid this in the relationship element that you share.
And part of it is, as a mentor, and that's where the whole deeper, richer experience comes into play. But it's fine-tuning or tweaking your listening and hearing skills, because the conversation will send those little red flags every so often that you'll go, just a minute, I think somebody is expecting more out of this relationship or arrangement than what really the intent is. And part of that is actually defining the expectations right at the very beginning. And so with the one person that I had, it became very obvious to me, and I ended up having to just push back. But number one, there was this huge dependency on making the decisions for them. They did not want to be accountable. And it was a whole lot easier. Just, you tell me what to do and I'll go and do it. Right. So that was definitely not some place that I cared to go. And there was these sometimes subtle overtures about wanting the relationship to go further than a mentor-mentee relationship. And it was such that I needed to push back and then turn everything around in the context of a question to start to say, we need to better clarify what it is that your expectations are, because I'm sensing that our expectations that we agreed to are starting to shift. And as a result of that, I was able to take back control of where we were going. Because if I had not have done that as a mentor, I would have lost control of the direction we needed to be going in.
Yeah, so really, it's really understanding the connection between the mentoring arrangement and the mentoring relationship. And who is leading which one of those? Because as the mentor, you have to stay more on top of it, stay on it, because the mentee will often slip into it and being able to know what's going on. So 3 things that I would share at this point in time is, and Doug has hinted at it here, is you've got to establish the boundaries right from the very beginning and clarify what it is that you're going to be doing. And if that means actually writing a contract, you can go so formal as to writing a contract. There are mentoring agreements that you can sign. There's different versions of those. We'll be making those available through IMC for you as well. We don't adhere to, this is the only one you can use. We're not like that, but we'll certainly put some out for you to take a look at. And one of the things to do is, as a mentor, in terms of establishing the boundaries, is be clear about when you're going to meet. It's a subtle point, but if you're the one who says, okay, we're going to meet on this day and meet on this day, not ask, well, when's the best time that you can meet, dear mentee? It would be more, okay, we're going to meet on this day and we're going to meet on this day, until you can get to the point that there isn't going to be some kind of reliance or something's going to bubble up, and you can then start to then move more into that collaborative piece. But at the very beginning, make sure that you take care of the dates and know why you're going to meet, all right, as the mentor. So that's one thing, all right? The second thing is, if you hear the negative language coming out, is help that person reframe it as soon as you can. If they start to talk down about themselves, like I'm stupid, or I don't get it, or whatever, is get in there and help them reframe that language and find out what it is that's going on and do some flipping around. But again, be careful about not pushing into the world of counseling when you're doing that. So that, just remain vigilant to that. That's a really important part there. The third piece is, make sure that the mentee knows, all right, how to ask questions. That's the best way to put it. Help the mentee learn how to ask a great question, if not an extraordinary question, because that will help them. By asking the question, they've got to frame up where they're coming from, what they want to tap into your experience. But by asking the question, it takes down the level of the feeling, because it places it more into a place of, okay, there's a little bit more logic here. Not to say be unfeeling in the arrangement. It's just, it gets you to think through this, all right, in a way that positions it so that it can go out into the shared space that you have in a way that doesn't give a feeling of, I'm going to rely on you for the answer in such ways that you're making my decision. You as a mentor is make sure that that mentee knows how to ask great questions so that you can answer those. Because if you let it get away on you again and they just start asking you questions all over the place, then you'll probably find yourself in a dependence, codependence kind of situation. So what of those 3 would you jump on and say yay or nay to, Doug?
Well, I think they're all they're all important things. The big thing for me that I've learned from what I've gone through, and it was interesting because I got a message this morning from somebody from another country wanting to be mentored. And when I read the message, the red flags went off, and I don't think they would have gone off as quickly had it not been for the experience that I had that I made reference to earlier. And so now I've pushed back and outlined what they can expect to get if we decide that we're going to work together, what they can actually expect to get from me as a mentor.
And it's so true. And I know the experiences that I've had over the years, like that, the first and third part, boundaries, contract, whatever you want to call it, help them ask great questions. And then it seems to flow from there for me. Okay.
Yeah.
It seems to flow.